Good morning, students. Today we will see about composition of matter. In this chapter, we have to learn about different states of matter, then different types of classification of matter, then types of elements, types of compounds, and types of mixture. All these things we have to learn in this chapter. Let us consider first about matter. Do you know what is matter? Matter is made up of different particles. But if you see the particles in matter, we will classify them in different types. The types of classification is different. That is on the basis of state or in the basis of their chemical constituent or chemical component. So we'll see first different types of or different states of matter. The first one is, we already know that the states of matter is solid, liquid and gases. Out of them, what is solid? A state. That state have a definite shape or a definite volume, or it may be a rigid or plastic or elastic and having a strongness. This type of state of the matter is known as that solid. Solid म्हणजे स्थायू पदार्थ ज्याला विशिष्ट आकार आहे, ज्याला विशिष्ट आकारमान आहे किंवा जो टणक आहे, घट्ट आहे, अशा पद्धतीतला जो एक घटक आहे त्याला आपण स्थायू किंवा त्याला इंग्लिश मध्ये आपण त्याला सॉलिड म्हणतो. Then next step of state of matter is liquid. How we can define liquid? Liquid is a state of matter having a definite volume but doesn't have any shape. It is having a next character, that is fluidity. This is low compressible, means we can compress liquid but in somewhat form. Then next step of matter is gas. What is gas? Gas is a state of matter without any definite volume or shape, means indefinite volume and shape, having a fluidity and highly compressibility character. It can be compressed highly. So these are the three different states of matter: solid, liquid and gases. Depending on the constituent of the matter, chemical content in the matter, we can divide or we can classify the matter in different types. Those are elements, compound and mixture. What is element? Element is a type of matter having the same type of content, the same type of particles. Same types of particles are included in this element. All the atoms in the elements are of same type. For example, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, these are the names of the elements. Means suppose we have taken oxygen, then in that oxygen only oxygen atoms are there. Or suppose we have taken gold. Gold is a element, but that element contains only the particles or atoms of gold. So these are the elements. Then compound. What is compound? Compound is made up of elements two or more elements came together with chemical reaction, there is a formation of compound. In compound, there are two or more types of atoms that comes together by a proper proportion. Then mixture. This is also two or more particles or atoms, or two or more types of atoms are came together in this mixture. But here the proportion of that content or component is not fixed. In compound, the proportion of the atoms which are comes together, those are in proper proportion, but in mixture there is no proper proportion of that content. So we'll give the example of elements means gold, silver, hydrogen, oxygen, like this. And the examples of compound: salt, sodium chloride, copper sulfate, ferrous sulfate. These are some examples of compound. Then what are the examples of, or which are the examples of mixture? That concrete mixture, it can be example of this mixture of ware, eating ware, that is also example of mixture, like this. So depending on the constituent or composition, chemical composition of the matter, we can divide them into three types. Those are elements, compounds, mixture. Then we see about types of elements. Elements means the matter having the same type of atoms, but that elements also we can divide it into three types. You already know about metals and non-metals. Means around about 190 to 120 elements are discovered till today. Out of them, some are metals, some are non-metals, and some are metalloids. What is metals? Metals are having a capacity to conduct the electricity, to conduct the heat. So these are some properties of metals. And about non-metals, we learn about the different their functions and different their characteristics of non-metals, that non-conductivity, low conductor or bad conductor of heat and electricity. So these are the some characteristics of non-metals. Then what is metalloids? Elements or elements having some properties of metals and some properties of non-metals. Those elements are known as metalloids. Metalloids are having the properties of metal and non-metal. Both properties we can get in this metalloids. For example, silicon, germanium, arsenic. These are the examples of metalloids. Will you tell me the examples of metals? Right? Aluminium, gold, Fe, iron. These are the some examples of metals. And examples of non-metals: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. These are the some examples of non-metals. So these are the types of elements. Then we will see about types of compounds. Compounds is formed due to two or more elements came together with chemical reaction and proper proportion. But there are some another types of compounds. Some compounds are organic. If you heated that compound, if there is blackish residue is remain, then that must be an organic compound, because that black residue means carbon, and the compounds which are having the major factor that carbon, those are known as organic compounds. Examples of these organic compounds is methane or carbohydrates, proteins. Then inorganic compounds. If there is no blackish residue, a compound decompose but there is no blackish residue, then that compound is known as inorganic compounds. For example, limestone, salt, regular salt we are using, that is also example of inorganic compound. So these are organic and inorganic compounds. Some compounds are complex compounds. The compound is contain more than 2 or 3 elements, but because of their complexity we can't divide them into organic and inorganic. That's why those are known as complex compound. For example, chlorophyll. Then mixture and types of mixture. What is mixture? 2 or more substance comes together without any proportion or there is no regular proportion. If the 2 or more substance comes together, that becomes a mixture. The types of mixtures is homogeneous mixture or heterogeneous mixture. Means 2 or more substances are in the same phase. दिसायला दोन्ही घटक, दोन किंवा अधिक येणारे घटक त्याच्यामध्ये सारखेच असतील. 2 or more components which are mixed together are in the same phase, एकाच अवस्थेमध्ये असतील तर that mixture is known as homogeneous mixture. And if 2 or more components which are comes together are in different state, one is solid and another is liquid, or one is gas and another is liquid, like this. If the states of that components are different and they comes together, there is a formation of heterogeneous mixture. Then what is solution? Solution also a type of mixture, but we can define this solution like this: solute plus solvent equal to solution. Means solution is having 2 parts. One is solute, which is less in proportion, and another component which is more in proportion or extra in proportion, that is solvent. If you taken that example of this solution in salt solution, then salt is the solute and water is the solvent. Always in solution, always solvent is in more proportion compared to solute. So solution is a mixture of solute and solvent. This solution we can divide into different types. That is, one is liquid in liquid, means solute also in liquid state and solvent also in liquid state. That is liquid in liquid. Example, vinegar. Vinegar is the example of liquid in liquid types of solution. And gas in gas, for example, air. In air, different gases are mixed, but those different gases are in same state, that is in gaseous state. That's why this is the example of gas in gas. Then solid in solid. If you see in alloy, the mixing of 2 or more metals, that is the formation of alloy. The stainless steel is the example of alloy, and that alloy is the example of a type of solid state solution. Then gas in liquid. We already know about that chlorinated water or soda water. In that water, gas is pressurized and mixed. So there is the example of gas in liquid. So these are the same some examples of types of solution. Then two more different concepts we have to learn in this topic. Those are suspension and colloids. What is suspension? Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. Suspension is a solution or mixture, but it is heterogeneous mixture. Means two or more products or two components which are mixed with each other. Those are, one of them is solid and another is liquid. If the solid and liquid, these two components came together, and if there is a formation of heterogeneous mixture, then that can be known as suspension. But here condition is like this: particles of the solid should be larger than 10⁻⁴ micro. Like this, particles of the solid in this liquid are larger than 10⁻⁻⁴. So heterogeneous mixture, we can see by naked eyes that particles are suspended in this. For example, if you take on water and we added some small particles, those particles, if they are goes here and there in that water or moves freely in that water, they can easily seen by our naked eyes. So there is a suspension state of that solution or that mixture, which is known as suspension. Then colloid. Colloid also a heterogeneous mixture, but in this a solid and liquid mixed with each other, but particles which are suspended or suspend means particles in this colloid are of around 10⁻⁵ m. The size of the particles is less than 10⁻⁻m. Here in suspension, larger than 10⁻⁴m, but in colloid, diameter of the particle is around 10⁻⁵ or less than 10⁻⁵. Example of colloid is a milk. Milk is having small microparticles of fat and other things, proteins, but those particles we can't be separated from each other. But in suspension, we can separate those particles by simple filtration. But in colloid, we can't separate those two atoms, two components by filtration. So all this about composition of matter. We have to read this lesson and solve the exercise. And if you have any doubts, we have to call on phone or chat on WhatsApp or any other media. Thank you.